Welcome along, one and all, to League of Europe Season 11. This is the ninth round of the championship, coming to you from Sin City. Las Vegas is the destination for tonight's event. So, we have a slightly reduced field of 16 drivers. Hopefully we will get great action out on circuit. Nevertheless, that action will of course be taken we will be taking you through it tonight. It is myself, Daka, as per usual, and alongside me once again, as he was last week, is Indigo Jamie alongside me. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you, mate. And yourself?
Just fine. Ready to go, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Here in Vegas, it can be a very chaotic track. I've commentated over here before, and it can be very, very chaotic indeed because you've got that long DRS zone, 1.2 miles, and we'll see a lot of slipstreaming and overtaking down into turn 13, and we might see some contact for sure as well. So we'll see if chaos happens around here in Vegas, because actually in the real life Grand Prix too, we saw Charles Leclerc overtake Perez as well, and we've got a few drivers out there, or I'll say a few drivers, we've got Chris and Saki out there on the intermediates, so probably just saving a set of softs for later on, as we usually see the intermediates being introduced in long qualifying, but here in short qualifying we just see the soft runners, or usually the medium runners out there too early in the stage of qualifying. So I believe we've got AlphaTauri out there first. I think it's Yulbeam. No, it's his teammate who's out there, so I'll let you take away the lap. Albeit though he's on Inters, so you might want to go on board with Yulbeam.
Yes, that was my thought process as well. So we will watch indeed the second AlphaTauri on the road of Yilbream. So we'll see how he will get on here. Of course, haven't seen very much of him this season, so we'll see what he can do as he gets set off around Vegas. Let's see how he takes on this tight and already iconic City circuit. Over the line to start things off then, coming up towards turn number 1, and we have a 2-corner complex which counts as 4 corners. I don't make the rules here. Nevertheless, through turns 3 and 4 as it were, getting very close to the inside wall and opening up the throttle as early as you can. Momentum is key as you head down the first DRS straight on the lap, looking towards the right-hander of turn 5, 90 degrees, down the gears into 4th gear, mid-speed, get up to the wall on the outside, plant the throttle yet again, then you're flat out once again, but not for very long. Try and straighten up the car as you brake, very difficult braking zone into turn 7, easy to get it all around to this tight complex now. Left-hander at turn 9, carrying momentum again through the exit, looked like a little brush with the wall there for Yulbream. He will carry along on his way. Nevertheless, first sector is a 43.9, which I have to say isn't especially fast, but we'll see what he can do down the rest of the lap. Turn 12, arguably, in fact I would say without question, the most important corner on the track, because it sets up, as Jamie said earlier, this 1.2 mile, 1.8 kilometre main straight all the way down towards turn 14 as it were. You can see the speed climbing. This is as high speed you'll get on the entire calendar. On to the brakes yet again into turn 14, 15 and 16, hard on the throttle yet again, just about keeping the rear end in check, and then it is all full throttle to the line, and Yilbream getting this opening in there that time from Yassir. I imagine that's going to get topped, and it will be from Yilbream. 31.5 to open up this session. Pole times could sneak into the 1:30, so keep an eye out on that, but Yilbream getting himself started. We'll see what the rest of the drivers have to offer on these opening runs.
Yeah, we've got Chris who goes up into P2, but only 5,000 separated on both inters, so they're clearly pushing on the intermediate tyres, even though it can be risky around here with the walls being so close. But yeah, decent lap time from your Bream. Yeah, I think the lap times could be in the 30s, like it says, so this is just an opening lap time there for your Bream. And Campbell goes quickest, only by about 5,000, so 5,000 separate the top two, 5,000 separate third and fourth, and Verstappen immediately takes pole by about under 2/10 of a second. So Verstappen looking for redemption after that collision in Australia as well with, I think it was Cucumber at the time, so Verstappen, who was probably on course to win the Australian Grand Prix, but that late safety car just appeared, and I think it swung into others' favours as well, because I think we had about 2 or 3 safety cars, which definitely changed the whole trajectory of the race too, and we've got more across the line now with IRT Fleddy making his way towards the line. Let's see what the IRT driver could do. It's pole with a 31.2 provisionally, so nice lap time there for Fleddy, who did suffer in Australia.
Yes, indeed, and Fleddy, not really known as a qualifying specialist, so that's a very nice time to get on the board for the Ferrari man. Twice on the podium, earlier in the season, in the opening 2 rounds, in fact. So looking to try and return to form here tonight. Sweet Crown in the Mercedes, and I will say Sweet Crown came agonisingly close to winning in the last time we were here in Vegas, here in LOE. It finished a very close third in the end, losing out on the last lap to Pease, who took his only race win to date in League of Europe Division 1. Unfortunately, he is not racing here tonight. So we'll keep an eye out then. Russell, still our championship leader, but a little bit more strained after events last week, being very close, just 14 points over Shadowglow, so looking to try and claw some points back in those standings. Down the main straight then towards the third sector. Of course, we know that he likes to run typically quite low wing, so he'll probably be hitting some of the highest speeds you'll see down this straight, and then into towards turns 15 and 16. You should be full throttle, just a little head to the left through the final major corner then. It is a difficult traction zone, then the rear end can break away. Russell, nevertheless, is going to see this lap through derating just before the line in. It's a 31 flat for a banker lap. That is astonishingly quick, but Shadowglow goes even faster on a 30.8, championship contender in the Williams, and well, I thought 30.8 would be around about where the pole time was, so if that is a sign of things to come, that is a massive stall set out from the Williams driver, GR Shadowglow, on top early in this session.
Indeed, incredible from there from Shadowglow, and his teammate who's coming in a lap time might give him a bit of slipstream if Shadowglow will want to help him. He did tap the wall out of turn 2, so I don't think he'll compromise him too much. It was just a bit of a scrape of the wall there, of kiss there. But as we make our way into this slow chicane, it is very tricky indeed. It's so easy to just lock their ears up, so they might be running about 55, 56 brake bias, but another tap of the wall again. Second time it's tapped the wall, but luckily I don't think sustained any front wind damage, so a QV Alp needs to be very careful of the walls there. But as we head down into turn number 12 now, he should get a lovely toe off his teammate, so let's see if the second Williams driver does get that toe. You can see Shadowglow's in the right place at the right time. DRS enabled down this 1.2 mile straight, 1.8 kilometer straight if you want it in those metrics. And let's see what his middle sector's like. A lovely toe indeed. Speed's about 360 kilometers an hour. That's about 225 miles an hour. 365 is just reached. I've got 2 kilometers an hour, so I'm not quite sure what it is in miles an hour.
Yeah, I think that's about 226 or near there. But I've also got it in kilometres an hour. But yes, searing speed down the straight. Unfortunately, that first sector, because of those couple of wall hits that you mentioned, was actually nearly a second off of what you'd want for the first sector. It was a low 44. You really want a low 43. Nevertheless, a 31.7. But I think much more to come from the Williams man, the Turkish driver, who's actually making his return to the series. He has missed the last 6 rounds, or actually 5, not counting the sprint race. So 5 rounds of the championship, was only here the first 3 rounds. Phenomenally fast driver, of course, in his own right, but he'll certainly be looking to get back on track, I imagine, after, well, he's not going to be in the championship fight, but certainly to get some results on the board in this late stage of the season. Slash crosses the line, goes 7th on a 31.6, and Luke, I believe, in the Aston Martin is also on his way down the main straight, comes over 109.6. That is actually a very respectable second sector time. A driver that isn't really known for out and out qualifying pace himself. Is he able to keep it flat? Just the slightest hint of a lift, and again into the wall. The track surface here at Vegas, and it's something that the drivers absolutely despise, is the track surface has very, very little grip. Luke crosses the line, does a very strong time actually, 31.5, but that is one thing that's very crucial in qualifying, and it will be in the race as well. The driver is going to have to take such care because the track surface here does not offer much in the way of grip for these drivers.
Yeah, indeed, it's very cold around this surface, especially in the real life Grand Prix. I think a lot of drivers were complaining for tyre temperature as well. As we head down into turn 1 between Verstappen and Leclerc, I think Verstappen pushed out Leclerc out wide into 1 because he had no grip at all around here in Vegas. They did complain because it was a night race too, and Vegas would be very cold, but in the race it didn't seem to affect them too much once they got going. So we'll see how it goes here in qualifying, as we've got more drivers on our lap time. Fleddy and I think Verstappen's out there too on their flying lap. I think Verstappen is on a lap, so he's coming out of turn number 9, I believe it is, as we make our way down towards. He's currently a 10th down in the first sector is Verstappen, but let's see if he can make his lap time back in the middle as we head towards turn 12. Another difficult corner where Lando Norris crashed in the real-life F1 too. He also struggled around there in the F1 game too, where he went off that track too. So not really a particularly strong point for Lando Norris there. I think he just lost the rear in the car and catapulted into the wall as Verstappen makes his way now towards the end of the middle sector at 9.8. So he's 2 tenths down on his previous best then for Verstappen, and he still continues to see if he can try and recollect any time in that final sector as we head towards the chicane there. And you do want to tight that curve a lot as well to get the best run at the corner, because it's so easy just to oversteer out of the corner as Verstappen heads back off into the pit lane there. So not really satisfied with his own lap time there. I was on board with it towards the middle sector, so I'm not quite sure what went wrong in the process, but he's not happy about it. I think ILT fled it out there too. He's also validated his flying lap then as Yulbream, I think, pops his AlphaTauri into P5, does the German driver, a 31.4 ahead of Luke by under a tenth as well. Luke is headed back into the pit lane. Rocco in the Mercedes goes into P11. Hazard is out there, but he's not improving on his lap time. Sweet Crown is out there again. We did see him dip into the pit lane as Yasia has retired somewhere in the pit lane or is on track. I'm not quite sure where it is, to be honest, but he's out of the qualifier session, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, that is coming out of turn 16, as a matter of fact. I just saw his icon paused on the circuit, so sadly for Yassir, that is going to be it for his session, I'm afraid. Sweet Crown is the furthest along. It's done a relatively fast first sector. It's very interesting. I do take a real nod at some of the top speeds these guys are hitting. One guy that's running very low wings, QVR Verstappen, hit nearly 360 Ks on the straight while not having any sort of slipstream whatsoever. Absolutely flying, so watch out for him during the race itself to maybe be on the attack during that section. Sweet Crown wasn't quite as fast down the straight, but he was very fast in the first sector and carries that through to a 31.126, 1,000th shy of the time set by Campbell, so very tight up near the front of the grid in the second and third rows. So good going from those guys. Not sure about lap times. Like Chris is heading down the main DRS straight. I'm not sure if anyone else is on a flying lap, at least not that far along. So we'll keep an eye on Chris, of course, promoted from Division 2, but unable to make an impression, is actually backed off that lap, and Rocco has gone off. And if I'm passing him along with Chris, and it looks like he's stacked in the wall there, just exited turn 14. Did he overshoot it? Did he lose the rear? Hard to know, but Rocco, once again it must be said, out of this session and with a lot of work to do in the race.
Oh yeah, for sure, but there's plenty of opportunities to overtake around this circuit, especially down that long straight too, so hopefully those two can get themselves back up to the order. But Sweet Crown is lap time with a 131.1. He did make a mistake headed into turn 12, but corrected it very early. I think he locked the rears up slightly, the car just twitched, but managed to correct it and continue with his lap time and get that P5. It's very interesting to see all the drivers losing or derating down the straight before the last lap ends. So they've not got the ERS set to full lap, as George Russell is on a flying lap as we head towards turn 7 and turn 8 now for him. Opens up the corner, taking the curbs very nicely there, just riding those curbs as we make our way now into turn number 9 we go. Very nice and smooth on the throttle there, good rhythm, good flow into those corners for George Russell. He's currently in P3 with a 31.0. So his first sector, only 2 thousandths up in that first sector for him. As we make our way down into turn 11 we go. Another tricky corner, but very pivotal to get right indeed, because it heads up towards the DRS zone. A long DRS zone indeed. You can't afford to mess this up into turn 12 because you could be a sitting duck down that straight as well. So, headed towards the end of the middle sector, we'll see what lap time he can set. Will he improve on his lap time or not? Yes, he does, only by 13 hundredths. That's only enough to get him ahead of Lifebout. As we make our way down into turn 13, 14, 15 we go. Hits the inside curve, rides the curve through there very nicely indeed. Gets close to the wall on the outside. No DRS on this straight. Well, let's see if he derates again down the straight before the line. And let's see where George Russell is. He crosses the line now. It's a 30.999. Incredible.
For no slipstream, that is a very, very storming lap, getting into the 132nd driver to achieve that feat. Looks as though Alp has done a much better first sector, and we'll keep on board with the Williams because these two, and this is exactly what they did in the opening round in Jeddah, exchanging that slipstream down the straight. So out of turn 12, punching out of that corner, and Alp is running quite low wings as well, so he should hit a very high speed down this straight. Keep an eye out for the delta time. He's going to cross the second sector split in a couple of seconds. Time should be right around now, and it's a 109.4. That's quick, that's very quick. Getting a good toe down the straight as well, but it's very difficult to nail this braking point. Get as close to the curb, just hitting it, the car unsettles, but he manages to hold it together. His line was compromised into the final rail corner just a little bit, but held it together only with the slightest hint of a left, and then it's full throttle once again. He will derate just before the line then, and it's a 131.192, goes sixth onto the third row of the grid for the time being. So the Williams drivers with good slipstream tactics, and Shadowglow retires. That looks to be in the pit lane, so that banker lap, that 30.8, sitting on that. We've not got very long to go in this session, so we'll see now. The question is, can anyone else top that as we get into the final stages and the final laps, the crucial hours in this session about to take place?
Majority of drivers then on and out lap, as some are going for a flying lap, and good lap time there from QVR Alp. He found a lot of time because he did scrape the wall on his previous lap times twice, but he managed to find half a second alone in that middle sector there from QVR Alp. Nice slipstream, like you said, from both of them, working really well together. As Shadowglow, did he get a slipstream on his best lap? Did you see that? Because I didn't see it.
He got a slipstream on a lap that he did later on that was 2 tenths slower than his 30.8, so that lap I don't actually know whether it was with slipstream or not. If it wasn't, then that's an incredibly impressive time and one that's going to be incredibly difficult to beat. The slipstream can gain you, well, a matter of tenths of a second, really. It does make a massive difference down a straight just that long. It's probably, in terms of speed, probably about maybe up to 10 k's an hour, about 6 sort of miles an hour. So very big advantage to be taken from that. I think Verstappen may be the first driver to really get these final runs underway. So Shadowglow's time, we'll keep an eye on it. But I think, Jamie, that time, as it is, especially with most of these drivers going out without slipstream, that's a tall order for any of these drivers to get near.
Yeah, we saw Verstappen go at the exit of turn 3. Russell has retired in the pit lane, so that's enough for him. So all eyes then on the rest of the field. Verstappen there sliding in turn 3 once again, headed into turn 9 there. So let's see his first sector. Is he going to be down because he did lose a lot of time on his previous lap time? He's actually a 10th up in the first sector alone. It's Verstappen despite sliding into turn 3 and in turn 8 there. Now we're coming towards turn 11 we go. Let's see how he hooks it up. Very nicely indeed, using all the track on the exit there as he get away with. Now on the 1.2 mile straight without no slipstream down here, so he'll have to do it all by himself on this straight. As let's see the speed he can reach up to. The max speed we see was 365 km an hour, but he won't get anywhere near that because he doesn't have a toe. Albeit though, his straight line speed 359 km an hour is mega without a toe, so only a few kilometers off that Alp had in the best straight line speed with a slipstream, and Verstappen without a slipstream too. So here comes Verstappen, make his way towards the line now. Let's see what lap time he could set in the McLaren. He goes up into P6 only and beats his lap time by 2 tenths ahead of Alp, who did have a slipstream, and he's ahead of him. So very impressive lap time indeed there from QVR Verstappen. And we've got Red Bull across the line right now. It's Lifebout who goes into P2. His teammate will follow shortly. He goes into P10 in the other Red Bull. Mercedes of Sweetcorn, I believe, is the next across the line. He goes on pole.
Wow.
30.8, and it's 7 thousandths quicker than Shadowglow. Incredible lap time from the birthday boy yesterday. Fantastic there from Sweetcorn. But anybody else? Camber, who goes into P3, and I think that's it. That's the rest of qualifying done.
Wow, Sweetground just snatching that one at the very last, and Campbell coming oh so close as well. Just 300ths of a second covering that top 3. Very, very tight. And Sweetground, who is on such a run of form at the moment, podiums in the last 2 races, now has a pole position to add to that 130.823, just edging out Shadowglow into second place in the end. So that lap from Shadowglow we saw very, very early on. We said it would be a roundabout pole. It was, but not quite enough, just fractionally down, but very tight at the front. Bit of a wider field spread further back, but hopefully it should set up some very exciting dynamics into the Grand Prix just ahead.
Indeed, we saw the Australian Grand Prix, how chaotic it can be, and safety cars might play a factor here too. And with these guys being so close and a bit further back from P7 downwards, it should be on for a fascinating race around here in Vegas under the lights here, especially down that strip as well. So we had Hazara. I kept an eye on him throughout the whole qualifying session, going for multiple runs on the same set of the soft compound tyres. He did start last in Australia, I believe he did, and he finished around inside the top 10 somewhere. Did pick up a 3-second tyre penalty as well, but he's going on on a different strategy here in comparison to the others. I'm not quite sure if he's struggling or not actually, or he just likes to go for the long runs or start at the back in general. Because I've not been here, I've only been here for the last race or so, so I'm not quite sure what Hazara's strategies are. But we'll see if he can make his way through the field. Obviously, another quick driver on his day, but obviously not showing any pace around here. So let's see if he can try and show some in the race. But I can't wait to see how this race turns out.
I think Hazara's strategy calls have been something that I've been questioning this entire season. We'll see if he can nail one here tonight. Unsurprisingly, doesn't seem to be much sign of rain. Of course, we got rain at the very, very end of the Australian Grand Prix last week. We'll see if that does repeat itself, although I doubt that will be the case. We then will have 16 drivers lined up and raring to go racing. Remember, mandatory two-stop strategy. We'll see how these drivers are going to play that around here as we get ourselves loaded in. And on this, as we said, cold temperatures, slippery surface, you may certainly see some drivers gravitating towards the softest compound. We'll see if that does turn out to be the case. The medium has generally been the most common, most popular strategy choice to open up races. So we will get into it very, very shortly, I imagine. One quick note, by the way, there was a notice from the head steward in LOE about the pit exit, which tends to intersect with the first corner. So keep an eye out for that. And although I did speculate that we may get some soft running, actually appears to be much the opposite. Shows what I know, because if we look at this, Jamie, the top three drivers, each of them, all opting to start this race, open it, on those white-walled hard tyres. That's a very intriguing choice for the opening stint.
For a 25-lap race and a two-stop, I've not done much information about two-stops, although I do league race in a race where I have to do two stops, but I tend to avoid the hard compound tyre. I just do medium, medium, soft, or medium, soft, medium, or soft, medium, medium, but I do tend to leave the soft compound tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix and surprise these guys have gone to the hard compound tyres, albeit there's 4 of them, and there's an even split between the soft compound tyres and the mediums then. So, yeah, despite this two-stop where you just go flat out because obviously you don't have to do any tyre saving with a two-stop strategy, that's what I like about sometimes in league race. It can be frustrating as well, but at least these guys are allowed to pit during a two-stop race where drivers are like me are not allowed to pit because that's the rules, but it's allowed in here. And we saw in Australia how it can benefit some as well, because you can literally do 2 stops under a safety car and that's it, you're done. You can go to the end of the tyres depending what tyres you're on as well. So we saw some strategic plays in Australia where some people pitted twice under the safety car and could take them towards the end as well. So it's all about strategy around here, and there's your possible race strategies, but I'm not quite sure how accurate they are. But the top 3 of the medium compound tyres, Russell on the softs with Lifeboat on the soft compound tyres, Verstappen in 6th on the hard. He's surrounded by soft and medium runners, so expected to struggle around here in the opening first laps of this Grand Prix before he gets them up to temperature. And in the groove himself, Alpes on the softs, Valery Yulbrim on the mediums, Baki on the softs, and 2 of them behind on the mediums, Chris, Rocky on the softs, Hazara on the mediums, and Yassi in on the soft compound tyres as well. So we'll see how this race pans out, who's got the best strategy.
I think typically in races you will see drivers at the front usually go for softer compounds, while drivers at the rear tend to go for harder compounds. These scenarios seem to be flipped here, which is very, very intriguing. This peculiarly placed grid slot, by the way, just after the final little kink, which means some of these drivers are starting around the last corner. Very, very strange. Nevertheless, we will get ourselves into it very, very shortly. It does mean we have a longer run than you'd maybe expect heading into the first corner. We'll see if that does change things, especially with the 2 compound gap amongst those drivers at the top 5. Watch out for Lifeboat and Russell, our championship leader, on the line. So we look to get racing underway. 25 laps of Vegas ahead of us. We have 5 lights. And they leave the grid in Las Vegas from the front of the grid. Sweet Crown trying to fend off Shadow Glow on the run towards turn 1. Shadow Glow is looking to the inside, draws level on the brakes as they skid their way through the opening corner. Lifeboat away strongly as expected. Sweet Crown managing to resist Shadow Glow through the opening couple of corners, and Lifeboat watching and waiting in behind, drawing alongside on the main straight already. down towards turn 5. He is going to take second possession on the road then. Russell moving up. He's got his teammate as well. The 2 compound gap coming into effect almost immediately then as Fleddy moves up alongside Campbell and spinning. Alp going sideways and backwards almost out of turn 5. Tries to rejoin but loses a lot of ground. A major blow to the Turkish driver on his return to LOE action. So, front of the grid, it's Sweet Crown from Lifeboat. 4/10 of a second covering them. Lifeboat got the good start he needed, and now he is going to chase on our winner in Jeddah, looking to get back to form here as Russell sweeps round Shadow Glow already, moving up and burning battery and getting into position. So he now runs third, chasing Lifeboat. The soft runner is immediately onto the offensive, and Sweet Crown, I imagine, is not going to be able to hold down this lead very much longer. Lifeboat goes to the right, gets the move done. Can Russell follow him? He does. Easily breezes past Sweet Crown, who ultimately has no fighting chance on those hards, and the soft runners have swept their way into 1 and 2 on this opening lap.
That was so lucky that Russell did not spin at turn 1, because he was in the middle of a sandwich, was also between his own teammate and the Red Bull Lifeboat, who's currently the leader. So yeah, Russell there almost got taken out in turn 1, but thankfully stayed there. Now he's up into P2 there with the incredible straight line speed he has. Up into P2, like I said, Sweet Crown had essentially no defence in that, because he was vulnerable on the straight. Might as well let the 2 go because of the soft compound tyres, but they'll see if he could stick in the DRS. If he sticks in the DRS this early in the Grand Prix, it'll be beneficial for him later on as well, sticking with the top 2 on the soft compound tyres. But yeah, clean opening lap other than Alp, who spun. I'm not quite sure if it was contact or he spun by himself at turn 3, but he's 5 seconds behind Luke now. And Alpine there of Campbell, I think it was, who hit the wall going into turn 3 there, but gets away from it. But that was crucial for Russell as well to make up the ground he had on the soft compound tyres. Did squabble with his teammate too for good measure, but eventually Campbell let him go and released Russell to catch after Sweet Crown, who overtaken him. And now he's in the back of Lifeboat. Already we've got a time. That's Chris, who's out of the race. Is that going to cause a safety car? That's the exit of turn 9. Weird place to crash indeed. I'm quite sure how that's happened.
It actually happened before the apex of the corner. He was in the wall backwards. I was riding on board with Alp as he drove past, so rather unusual crash. No safety car or even virtual safety car has been brought out, so we will carry on. And speaking of carrying on, Russell continues his charge, sweeps to the right hand side and takes the race lead away from Lifeboat, who is more than content to tuck his way in. Down the straight behind, they're 3 wide almost, and Verstappen, I mentioned the wings he was running, flies past Fleddy and Backy down the straight, and he now has P6 on the road and staring down the other hard runners. That's 2 critical moves for the championship contender. 3rd place man in the standings, QVR Verstappen, who now runs 6th. Russell predictably fastest lap. Lifeboat Sweet Crown is all over them though, and with a lot of battery, so maybe the softs aren't quite as durable as we might have thought. These 2 still running 1 and 2, but Sweet Crown able to stay with them very, very nicely, and the hard runners, well, they had almost no grip off the line. We're only just over 2 laps into this race, Jamie, but already we're seeing those hards come into their own, and Sweet Crown all of a sudden looks very threatening in 3rd place.
I expected the top 2 to just pull away the opening laps, but Sweet Crown is sticking in the DRS for the top 2. He's got a lot of battery to save as well and to use, and Russell's absolutely obliterated his DRS. He's on 24%, so he'll be vulnerable in when those guys. Sorry about that. I'm a bit tired. I'm not quite sure what I'm saying there, but when these guys, I'm not going to finish my sentence. I don't even know what I'm saying, so I'll let you continue.
When these guys, that story will have an ending that remains unknown, I'm afraid. Nevertheless, yes, Russell does lead from Lifeboat. Lifeboat is already struggling to stay in that DRS range because of Russell's pace, but now that begins to cancel itself out down this monstrous DRS straight. It opens up a lot earlier than it does in real life, I think. It's before that kink of turn 13 down the straight, and that allows Lifeboat to close right up. He was almost 9/10 behind, and now the gap is almost nil, but you can see how everyone else is bunching up, and back in the pack we have Rocco and we have Yassir backwards and spinning and sliding down there at turn 14. I didn't quite catch the start of that, but that's 2 more soft runners who have been on the back foot, and Alp getting his way past Rocco there eventually moves up, and Rocco dives late to the pit lane, so he must have spun up those tyres. Don't know if he got any damage in that altercation with Yassir, so they're separated. That's 3 drivers that have been caught up in major incidents. Everyone else still relatively unscathed as Shadowglow takes a look at Sweet Crown second and fourth in the standings at the moment, but it seems as though everyone remaining relatively patient because that DRS down that Las Vegas Boulevard is so immense that at the moment, even with Russell's pace in the front over Lifeboat can lose as much as he wants through these corners, but if he just stays within that 1 second, he's got basically a free ride back as Yasir picks up a 10-second penalty. How on earth did he get that?
No idea. Probably through the chicane because that's where he is right now. So probably cut the chicane completely. But Lifebar, he does struggle in the corner. He's got a lot of straight line speed, has the Red Bull, but he's just slithering and sliding through the corners. So you can see that he almost got detached from the DRS train. But the DRS bringing himself back into play. Sweet Card is right behind him, and you can see will he put pressure? Oh, we've got a retirement. He's out of the race, and I pressed my home screen, so I can't quite see what's going on. Safety car is out, I think it is. So yeah, I pressed my home screen by accident. I couldn't see anything there.
Yeah, so Yasir, that is coming out. He did seem to be weaving in the run through turns 10 and 11. I do hope that wasn't an intentional crash, but nevertheless, that is something that can only be speculation at this point. With a full safety car, near enough everyone diving to that pit lane, getting the early stops out of the way. So Russell, Lifeboat, so any tyre strategy considerations get thrown out the window here, apart from, of course, the slight chestnut of some drivers having to use multiple compounds, of course, with the 2-compound rule. So into the pits they all go. Shadowglow and the Williams is going to put mediums on as well. Essentially the entire field by the looks of it. Lucas one exception, Yilbream, Hazara, Alp, and then followed by Rocco, of course, is a long way detached. But in terms of the front group, at least, they all run to the mediums. Pretty much no change. They all queue up behind the safety car as Alp puts on the inters. I imagine that's the setup, getting the second stop out the way. I wonder if we're going to see others coming in as well, but at least for the top 9, that's mediums, and I imagine there'll be another pit stop off after that. But Alp going differently, of course, the slightly farcical strategy call of going to the inters, but it does mean, I guess, that he will serve another one. I assume a set of hards. We'll see if he can take them all the way. I imagine that's the plan for the Williams, who you could say has nothing to lose in this race.
A good, well, this is a dream safety car for those sufferers there, because they look like they're struggling. It helps Russell too to save his EOS as well, as he used a lot of it trying to get past the guys early on in the race too. So it's helped Russell a lot. It's helped Lifebar, who's on the soft compound tyres. The Sweet Crown was looking to pounce on those two, but the safety car came at the wrong time, like it was in Australia. Once again, QVR Campbell had to double stack behind his teammate, but this time he doesn't lose a lot of places, only about 2 or 3 I think it was. He's down in 6th place now. We saw both Red Bulls double stack. Becky as well down in P9 had to take the pain of losing a bit more time than he would have wished for. But yeah, like you said, so we've got one stop underway. These guys will take these mediums for a short stint, and they probably put on a set of mediums again or softs depending how far in we are in the race. But the first safety car caused by the AlphaTauri, whether that was purposeful or not, is yet to be justified. But yeah, he did seem quite frustrated, didn't he, when he got spun or contact or whatever it was in that corner, turn 13, 14, 15 with the Mercedes driver Rocco. So he must have been carrying a heavy burden on that, unfortunately, and just couldn't calm down or something like that.
Yes, of course, again, that is just speculation. We'll get, I imagine, a more clear-cut picture in the days to come. I am, of course, keeping a very close eye on QVR Alp and other drivers near the back of the field to see if they're going to give up what little track position they have to get another pit stop out the way. Looks like Alp is alone in that one. The Williams man darts to the pit lane, though. He is followed by Rocco, in fact, in the Mercedes, so these two come in. I'm guessing for hards, and we'll see what they can make of it. Yes, hards going on the Mercedes of Rocco, and the Williams, of course, at the opposite end of the pit lane, the very end, and that is white wall hards going on as well. So these two drivers, they may sit last and second last, at least provisionally, but they are two drivers to watch in the rest of the stint. Everyone else staying out, so they've done one mandatory stop, and that is how it will stay until they serve another one, maybe banking on another safety car. We will see, but really, those two, Alp, Rocco, keep an eye on their progress if they can stay in the pack, but now this is a situation we've ran into multiple times throughout this season. It's the leaders on track, the guys that qualified at the front, on paper the fastest drivers, and they've got that responsibility amongst each other to try and widen that gap and negate that extra pit stop that Alp and Rocco are making up on them. So, intriguing prospects ahead as we should get back to racing at the end of this lap.
Yeah, it seems like guys at the lower end of the field where the safety car comes out tend to have an advantage with pitting without losing any more, well, without losing too much trap position or positions they can sacrifice it and make it up later in the race. Where these guys obviously don't want to lose that trap position, they need to keep it because it's can be quite difficult that DRS trade to overtake. So, yeah, but we saw this in Australia where safety cars disadvantaged Russell, I think, the second time. Then when the third safety car came out, advantaged him. So yeah, the pendulum could swing either way. But Russell looking comfortable at the front and trying to win here in Las Vegas. Because I think in Australia, where he picked up that 3-second time penalty very late doors in the race too, which cost him the race victory eventually. I think his championship rival Shadow Glow won the race, and the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap too. So the top 8, top 9 are on the same tyres. And this should get very interesting now. These guys on the same tyres. Probably the pendulum is swung towards the top 2, who are the soft core power tyres, able to go on the mediums without losing any time, and try and save a bit of battery too for Russell's sake.
Yes, he'll be able to control this restart. I don't have stats on laps led or safety car restarts led, but I imagine he is certainly by far at the top of the pile in this league in that regard. Lifeboat in second place has the responsibility of responding as best he can. Russell, as he usually does, running a very slow, steady pace between 60 and 70 kilometers an hour. When does he open up the throttle? The answer is now. Away goes the Alpine, but Lifeboat responds well, as does Sweet Crown, and those three have opened up a bit of a gap on Shadow Glow behind, but Russell does maintain that lead. Sweet Crown again looks very threatening behind the Red Bull. The pole setter indeed, all over the rear end of the Jeddah race winner. Can he peck away through on the run towards turn 5 as Russell shoots off the road? He's got those tyres into the operating window very, very early on, and Sweet Crown is going to remain patient in third place for the time being. Hazara made ground. I saw him move past Yildirim on the start. He now runs 10th behind the swath of medium runners, and he's a driver we didn't really mention during the safety car, but he's got a task now in trying to pick his way through on the really only couple of laps where the softs seem to be advantaged. But up at the front, Lifeboat has a real struggle in his hands here. He's having to burn a lot of battery, as is Russell in front, of course, because it is teetering on the edge of that 1 second, and we still have another lap after this of no DRS. So Russell is really on it after that safety car restart, railing turn 12 and getting onto the power early. In Lifeboat, we saw him struggling on the opening few laps to stick with Russell in that technical section. At the moment, he can't quite keep up, and he's losing time hand over fist. Russell has used a bit more battery, but you'd say to good effect. And Sweet Crown in third place, who's kept a lot more of his battery, he may look to try and slingshot his way past the Red Bull when he has the chance, as Russell moves away and looks to be extending that. Then Lifeboat struggling at the moment to cope with the infernal pace of the championship leader.
Yes, indeed. So Russell has another lap to try and keep that gap over 1 second. And Lifeboat will try and everything he can. He used a lot of battery in the early stages. Russell sets the fastest lap of the race, as you expect, just pulling away from second place and downwards. And can Lifeboat get himself back in DRS range? Obviously, the first of the soft compound tyres, we did see him struggle in the technical part, just slither and slide. So that might be the case again, because he's got good straight line speed, but in terms of the first sector, just tends to lose the back end of the car. So that's the one thing he does struggle with. As you can see on the short straight already, he's under the second of DRS, but at the exit of the first sector, you might see the gap over a second. What will Sweet Card do as well? When you try and leapfrog Lifeboat, when the DRS is enabled, try and get himself closer towards Russell. But advantage Russell so far, if he can find more time and try and get that gap over a second and more to keep those guys at bay. But we're about to find out, because at the end of this sector, the gap is 1.1, and he's still keeping the gap just there. But trying his absolute best, used a lot of ERS too. Same as Russell too, actually. Used a lot of ERS, try and blast his way past or get even further ahead. Lifeboat the exit of turn 12 went a bit deep, but thankfully did not hit the wall, as that does tend to happen around here. But the gap is 1.4 already, so what will Sweet Crown do? We can see that Russell is pulling away. Will Sweet Crown try and pounce on Lifeboat, try and get even closer towards Russell? He's very close to the straight. Will he try and make an overtake or sit back? No, he goes to the left hand side and he takes the place away. Now he's released into P2. He's got the ERS. Can he try and get himself back in the DRS range of Russell? We're about to find out. But what Sweet Crown doesn't want is Lifeboat and Shadow Glow to be all over the back of him and fight him, because that'll lose even more time towards Russell.
Sweetcrow not happy with Lifeboat's pace, as it seems Lifeboat is tucked underneath in the slipstream but lifting down the straight. He's not interested in regaining that place. He maybe knows that Sweetcrow is the faster driver and maybe has a shot of closing up, especially with 80% battery. He's got a fighting chance, but he's going to need to act quickly because that powerful DRS is going to keep everyone behind in play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all line astern in behind the Mercedes, who's dragging them all along, but he's using that battery now, Sweetcrow, and he knows how important that stage of the race is for him. Remember, Sweetcrown in the Mercedes was the on-track winner in Australia, lost out through penalties. He was the pole setter here. We know what kind of pace he has, but Russell is the championship leader. He has won 4 rounds of this year's championship, so he has got searing pace as well, and the gap is 1.6 seconds. It is only increasing at the moment, but Sweetcrown, maybe with more battery, can close the gaps on the straight. One thing he does have to consider, though, will Lifeboat make his own move? Out of turn 12 again this time. Both second and third place men have moments coming out at 12. Sweetcrown managing to kick on and actually close the gap on Russell, but Shadowglow is getting very, very interested in that third place, looking to climb onto the podium. He has a big slipstream now on the Red Bull, but the DRS with Lifeboat too, and Lifeboat is going to go to the inside. He is going to take that second place away from Sweetcrown, at least briefly. He snatches it up, but this DRS relaying is actually helping them bring back our race leader. Has Lifeboat done enough here? He's using a lot more battery down the straight, and Russell is out of his now. He has nothing more to use, and it looks like those DRS passes on the run down the Vegas Boulevard have helped, and Lifeboat has got himself back within range of the race leader.
Indeed, so Lifeboat there overtaking Sweetcrown, brought himself back in DRS range. You can see that Russell is derated, so that helped Lifeboat too. Lifeboat had to go for the move because Shadowglow was attacking, didn't want to stay behind him much longer, so he probably forced Lifeboat to an overtake. If Shadowglow wasn't all over the back of Lifeboat, probably would have stayed behind Sweetcrown, but he had to go for the move and try not lose too much track position there. And now we can see Russell in plain sight once again then. So let's see if Lifeboat this time can stay in DRS range with the help of the 2 DRS zones, especially that 1.2 mile straight, 1.8 kilometers straight, keeping DRS range there. But you can see in the first sector it does lose a bit, but hopefully he can try to stick with it and stay with the leader.
Going to be difficult for Russell to pull away now with only 14% of battery. He's going to be derating down the straight here, I would imagine. So as much pace as he has, he's unable to quite break away, and Sweetcrown is getting interested again in reclaiming that second place. I think he's a typically patient driver in the Mercedes, but he's going to get a good run, and then there's the overtake button being pressed, and he pulls to the outside of Lifeboat. Is Lifeboat going to give this one up? He lifts off the throttle again down the straight and cedes second place, as Sweetcrown is going to close right up to the back of our race and championship leader, tucked in underneath the rear wing. He's been second and third in the last couple of races. He's looking for P1 this time out, as the front of the field now. Backy is the driver that's struggling to stay in contact, but the top 7 at least are right underneath each other's rear wings as we head towards half distance in this Vegas race. So Sweetcrown right underneath Russell's rear wing, and Russell with no battery left to use, or no discernible battery at least. He is not going to be able to pull away unless Sweetcrown or other drivers behind make a mistake. So now everyone tucked in, and we're stuck in a state of I guess limbo almost in the race, as everyone just plays the waiting game at the moment. And I did say I was keeping up with Alp and Rocco. Those two drivers making decent progress then, as Rocco is going to draw alongside and past Alp heading into turn 5. They don't want to fight each other too much, but they've just lost a couple of seconds to the group in front. So this lead train, perhaps due to all the fighting and Russell's attempt to break clear, have managed to pull away from those hard runners, but they're going to have to keep extending that gap if they want to make up for that one pit stop difference.
Yes, indeed. Those guys, the hardcore power tyres, from 12 downwards. I think Luke has only done the 1 stop. Yes, he has. So it's only Rocco and Alp that's done the 2 stops so far. So that rule is ticked off the regulations, where the rest of them have to go into pit lane to make another pit stop there. But you can see Russell using the battery he doesn't really have. Sweetcrown will be on the attack. Will he defend? Will he try and go for it now, or just wait? It looks like he's gaining and gaining. You can see that Russell's derating, and here comes Sweetcrown to take the lead of the race. Here comes Lifeboat. He'll drop Russell 2 places, and he puts himself... No, Russell defends back. Can he try and go on the outside?
Wow.
Yes, he does. Wow. Late breaking skills there for Russell, paying dividends, and he stays in P2. I thought it could be a risky move trying to go around the outside of there, but Lifeboat just eases off, and Russell stays in P2. Incredible racing from the two indeed.
Yeah, I think Lifeboat was very hesitant there on the brakes, maybe worried about hitting Sweetcrown, so he backed off, and Russell went clean round the outside. Ultimately, it's better to be second in the train than third, it must be said. But Russell, that lack of battery now working against him. Also, one thing I am noticing, most of the drivers under-fueled at the start of the race. Most of them, thanks to that safety car in part, have already made up that difference. Russell is one driver that hasn't. He's still under on fuel. You can see that fuel caution light still up on his dashboard. Keep an eye on that. We'll see if he does manage to get rid of it later on in the race. So Sweet Crown now leads, and Russell's pace beginning to fall away. Oh, Lifeboat, huge moment heading through turn 7. Manages to recover it. Shadowglow's up on the outside through 9. Has nowhere to go on that occasion. But Lifeboat, a big moment. You said his car was not very planted in that first sector, and we're noticing that from the Red Bull driver. He opens it back up, but now again he's having to fight to stay in DRS range. It looks as though he will manage to do that, as the DRS activation point is just now out of turn 12, and he does still have it. Shadowglow in behind in fourth, and Campbell attacking Verstappen. The two former teammates in this league are side by side down the straight, and Verstappen's going to let that one go. I think he's going to tuck in underneath as Campbell burns off a lot of battery to see that move through, and another move for the lead as Russell takes it back from Sweet Crown. He defended second place on the last lap. Now he attacks. He takes back the lead on to P1 from the Mercedes in his Alpine. He leads away. Big snap from Sweet Crown hanging out of turn 16. We're keeping an eye on potential pit stops. These guys still looking to extend a little bit further as Sweet Crown tucks right underneath, and the lack of straight line speed from the lack of battery from Russell, every time he gets to the front it's like a parachute almost on the back of that Alpine, and everyone behind just bunches up. Russell, with no battery really to use, derating and holding everyone up down these straights as this entire top 7 converges within a few tenths of a second of each other.
And here comes Sweet Crown on the attack again, going down into T3. He takes the lead of the race. Late braking, does he make the corner? Yes, he does. And here comes Russell. What will he do? Will he back out of this or try and fight out? I think he should back out. Yes, he does. Very wisely indeed. You don't want to fight in these corners. You can see him there lifting off. I noticed this as well. Lifting off always on the straight to try and regenerate some of that lost battery there. But Russell now in P2. Let's see if he tries to save a bit of battery. But obviously he's got life bar right behind him too, so it can be very difficult to try and save battery around here, knowing you've got to use it and try and keep ahead of others too. But I did look at the fuel. I zoomed in on the steering wheels, and a lot of drivers with 0.0 something, so they're under fuel quite a lot, and this could be a problem, you know. If another safety car doesn't appear, a lot of these drivers could be lifted and coasting. We might see this in the DRS trade too, with Russell just breaking out of the toe there, using the DRS. But I'm expecting a lot of these drivers just to lift and coast towards the later stages of the Grand Prix, knowing they've got to save some battery. But here comes Russell once again, not close enough, just trying to keep a bit of distance between himself and Lifeboat too, and measures that really nicely too. Just trying to anticipate if Lifeboat attacks, because if you can see him getting closer and closer, Russell will try to use a bit more DRS, try to stay in second place. But once again, another stop there from Lifeboat at turn 14, the last proper corner before we head into the official final corner. We go onto the straight as we head off lap 13 going into 14. I've looked at a lot of drivers' fuel consumptions, and it's 0.0 something. Other than Sweet Crown in P1, I had a look at, something's going on with Slash there. He's in the pit lane, I think he is. Yes, he is. To go on to another set of, is it the softs or the hard mediums? I think it's going to be the medium compound tyres he goes on to. Yes, he does. It's actually hard, actually, so that's very interesting indeed.
Yeah, maybe the hards is a good tyre to use over the course of an entire stint. These drivers have worked their strategy over the course of this week. They know what they're doing, and they are still running themselves out on circuit. What was a 7-car fight for the lead has now become 9. Baki has managed to claw himself back in, and Hazara has done a very good job of extending these softs still in the bunch. He maybe didn't gain the track position you may have hoped for, but he is still right in the hunt and in this lead group, which all in all is still covered by a margin of just 3.5 seconds, so very, very tight in there. And of course everyone finding it difficult to break away. Sweet Crown, of course, again, he was leading until the very final lap in this race last year. We know what kind of pace he does have around this circuit, and he's showing it, but still unable to pull away. Russell and Lifeboat just tucking themselves in. Baki is looking to be on the offensive now. He's very close to the back of Fleddy, but unable to quite make a difference. And you can see Russell again out the slipstream, lifting down the straights. He manages to stay behind, but with DRS this powerful, it's very difficult to do that, because you can always run into a case where, Sweet Crown very out of shape through 16. You always run into a situation when you're in second place where the car in third can attack you, as you mentioned on the last lap. So Lifeboat has got some power then as to how these top two end up racing each other, as down the field then, Campbell and Verstappen, Baki and Hazara all in. looking for an undercut, so they're shaking things up. They're trying to gain the edge and track possession. It's mediums for Campbell, ditto for Verstappen and Baki, and it's mediums for Hazara as well. So those 4 drivers all going for the yellow walls. We'll see how well they can get the tyres up to temperature on this outlap, but those drivers coming in, Shadowglow and Lifeboat are battling out through 5, and through goes the Williams into P3, so Lifeboat down to 4th. Shadowglow's going to have to work to get in DRS range, or stay in DRS range of Russell ahead. But all of these 5 drivers in this lead fight now have that slight predicament of the other 4 drivers in that train pitting, trying to get that undercut. So I imagine we'll get some reactionary pit stops on lap 15 of this race, as this top 5, I imagine, are going to try and cover off Campbell and co, who came in on the previous lap.
So mediums now towards the end seems the way to go. Not the soft compound tyres, they did struggle, but you can see the Lifeboat once again. He really is struggling. He's got the straight line speed, but unfortunately he hasn't got the balance in the corners to just try and stick on the track. But here comes Russell now, overtaking the race leader on Sweet Crown, demotes him into P2. You can see the straight line speed Russell has their advantage, 250 kilometers an hour. Let's see if these guys at the end of this lap will respond to the pit lane of the others, because I don't know how powerful the undercut around here is. Roger has overtaken Alp, he moves himself up into P6. Alp did have a spin early on in the race, I think he did, but let's see then if these guys will pit. Yes, they will. I think they're all following each other. No one stayed out other than Lifeboat, which is surprising.
Lifeboat expands once again in the Red Bull. The top 3 on track, though, are in Russell, Sweet Crown, Shadowglow, and Fleddy as well, further back in the train. Now, the important thing is, where will they emerge relative to the other group? Those that pitted on the last lap. Campbell is heading down the main straight then, tracked very closely by QVR Verstappen. They come over the line now as the rest of the drivers emerge from that pit lane. Remember, it's a very sketchy pit exit, so you could be seeing drivers side by side, and you do, but there you go. Campbell has jumped right around the outside as Sweet Crown has gone right backwards here. He's side by side with Verstappen heading out of turn number 4. They're going to go wheel to wheel again, but I said Verstappen, he's got such low legs, and through he goes. Look back though, Hazara on Shadowglow gets him over, he's looking for another, diving daringly down the inside of Sweet Crown and side by side with the Mercedes again. Sweet Crown on the battery, he does not want to let this one go. They run it parallel towards turn 7. Hazara squeezed to the very outer regions of the track, and again he's pushed onto the curb. Again they still back wheel side by side, side pod to front wheel, and Hazara eventually has to yield. Sweet Crown got the elbows out there and just about managed to see off the Haas, who benefited from that undercut. Russell managed to keep a hold of the race lead, but Sweet Crown went right backwards there. I'm not sure if he got held up, because that gap to Russell seemed very large compared to what it was at the pit exit. So now the Alpines run at the front of this DRS train, which stretches all the way back to Baki in P11. We're still waiting on stops from Lifeboat, who's coming now to the end of the lap. Alp and Rocco. Of course, Alp and Rocco, as Rocco actually runs into the back and taps Alp, heading into turn 14, and he has to back off and look at behind these guys, and they're costing each other time hand over fist. Lifeboat predictably pits from the lead. Does Luke pit from P4? He does. So now that's going to be everyone having served both their mandatory stops. Alp from Rocco, but that infighting there, that little tap, despite getting the stop done under safety car, Russell in P3 has emerged, and he's only 4 seconds behind. So I think those two are going to really struggle to hold on to that lead they've built up, because Russell in P3 is on a charge.
Yes, he is indeed. You can see Rocco over the back at Alp. He moves himself up into first place, so those two don't have to pit again, so they can go to the end of the race. But they will be hunted down by Russell and downwards as well. I'm surprised by Hazari, you know, when the first safety car came out, because he pitted onto a set of soft compound tyres. As I recalled, he only made about 1 place up alone. I'm surprised he didn't go any further, but yeah, he's in this DRS train fight, and he could be very interested to look for a podium if he can, but it'd be very difficult. But what a fight there between Sweet Crown and Hazara, the previous lap as well, going wheel to wheel in tight corners like turns 6, 7 and 8, and Sweet Crown is all over the back of QVR Verstappen. What's going to happen, because both RPs there could really help each other in this race, and Russell, 1.8 away, so he's gained a huge chunk of time on the guys ahead, who's currently in the net first and second place. But it's Sweet Crown close enough for Verstappen. No, he's a bit too far back on this occasion, but we'll see how this plays out between the both Alpines. Can Russell now use his teammate as the DRS train? We're about to find out, but you can see again and again and again. If here comes Verstappen, he's boxed in, he's got nowhere to go, has to back out, and he remains in P5 for the time being there. So they get very close at the end of turn 13, and Sweet Crown all over the back of QVR Verstappen, but I don't think he'll make a move going down into turn 1. All these drivers are bunched up, and this could be a last end towards this Grand Prix. Who is going to come out on top? It could be anybody, because they could leapfrog depending who's out there in first place, it could be very vulnerable towards the end of the Grand Prix with the amount of slipstream we've seen and overtaking on that straight alone.
Speaking of overtaking, it's about to become very, very important as Russell wastes no time, draws alongside Alp, and he's going to get through immediately. If he puts cars between himself and the rest of the bunch, this was going to put him in a seriously strong position. So Rocco, from the race lead, has a real role to play now, and how this race win is going to be decided. Russell is all over him, but there's no way through heading into turn 7, surely. The rest of the train is stacked up behind QVR Alp for the moment in the Williams, so he has to watch and waiting. Can Russell find another move on the run up towards turn 12? He's got a couple of kinks to navigate and then just a straight, but I think actually what he's going to do is wait for DRS to come into play and get a surefire move done on the Mercedes. Campbell in behind his teammate. How is he going to play this? Russell is all over and runs into the back, did he? Of Rocco. He recovers it. Did he get damaged? Is he still okay? Alp is all over him. The Alpine now recovers, puts on the overtake button and goes away. But Alp looking, darts out to the right. He's on the overtake button as well. He moves right again and they're going to get both close up to the back of Rocco. They split the Mercedes and through goes the Alpine to the lead. Now Alp trying to snatch it back up. He's on the inside into 14. Russell easily outbreaks him and sweeps around the outside, and Campbell and Rocco are side by side now. Heading through turn 16, level. Somehow not touching. But now watch Verstappen, who gets the run on the pair of them. He is going to go to the right as Campbell goes left. They're going to be 3 abreast around the final corner. Look at this. Spectacular racing here at Vegas as Campbell now dives to the inside and rear locks and spins. Campbell is round and he collects Verstappen. Got it all wrong then, and Verstappen had nowhere to go as Campbell just overcooks the braking into turn 1 and 2. Contenders for the race winner now out the way. Sweet Crown now is going to blast past his teammate and Alp. But with that whole altercation, Campbell and Verstappen coming together, through goes Sweet Crown, but he's got 2 seconds now to make up on Russell, who has flown up the road. Hazara now again finds himself on the right hand side, heading into 7. Can he go all the way around the outside? He's going to get squeezed right to the edge of the track, but he has it. Rocco and Alp on these hards are causing chaos. Hazara gets third, but that's another break in the train. Lifeboat now has found himself side by side with the Williams of QVR Alp. He's trying to help his teammate, of course, Shadowglow, who is right in behind in the second Williams car, and Alp is going to have to get out the way here. Through goes Lifeboat. I want to hand over to you, Jamie, but I can't. There is no break in the action here. But Russell's still on a march, and Sweet Crown's got a major task now to get on by him. Through goes Lifeboat, I imagine, on Rocco. Rocco trying to fight him off. He's trying to help his teammate, of course, in P2. Lifeboat is going to get it done eventually, but the alternate strategy from the hard runners has caused absolute mayhem in the lead group, and what it has done, Jamie, is completely fractured it. Now we have Russell 2.3 seconds in front and could be on his way to another victory here.
Yeah, it's absolutely split up here in Vegas now. These guys are holding up on each other, and Shadowglow does get past the... No, it actually goes side by side, bit of contact there as well. But Shadowglow should get this move done, considering he's on fresh and medium compound tyres. Later breaks into turn 1 we go. So shame about Campbell and Verstappen as they race down into turn 1, but no room whatsoever. I think QVR Campbell just hit his rear left tyre and unfortunately went into a spin. And here comes Lifeboat on Hazara as well. He goes up into P3, and Lifeboat is on fresher tyres in comparison to the rest of them too. Only about 1 lap difference, but he's in P3, he's back in the equation. Thanks to all this mess that's gone on in the last few laps, it's brought him back into play. And let's see then if he can try and hunt down Sweet Crown, which he is, because he's right behind him. Baki has overtaken Rocco. These hard runners have caused a real headache, and I dare say may have upset some people's races, as they're now the guys who predicted to be on the podium will win this race have found themselves further down than they expected, thanks to these guys. Obviously, they're not obliged to get out of the way. They can race if they want to, but it does always get messy when we've got drivers on newer tyres versus older tyres desperate for the race win. You just got to bide your moment at the right time, pick your moments at the right time to get past those guys. Obviously, those guys will fight back on you, but you just got to choose the moments at the right time. QVR Verstappen gets past Rocco. Here comes Shadow on Hazara, who drops backwards down the field into 5th place. You can see he's got DRS there pushing the Williams along too as we head down into turn 13. Will Hazara send one up the inside? No, he doesn't. But what I was about to say from Hazara, it was super important and critical to get past Rocco and the Red Bull. Sorry, Alp, because he was stuck behind those two, and Sweet Crown was able to pull away. But Sweet Crown there has lost the advantage now because he's in DRS range of Lifeboat 2 and behind. So I think Sweet Crown might have a bit of a difficult time catching up as QVR Verstappen goes up the inside of Baki, which gets the moves done and puts him into 6th place. But yeah, Sweet Crown will have a lot of have a lot of difficult time there to try and catch up to Russell, because he's got the guys behind who will put massive pressure on himself.
Yeah, again, the only way I can see that they're going to catch the race leader at the moment, Sweet Crown has no battery, neither does Russell for that matter, but they need to DRS relay like they did in the first stint. It's going to be difficult because the gap is much bigger, and there are very few laps now left in this Vegas Grand Prix, but you have to try, and that seems to be the only option. Pure pace, I imagine, is not going to cut it. Sweet Crown, at the moment, is just matching Russell in terms of pace. That gap is sat just under, or just around 2.5 seconds, pretty much for the entirety of the last couple of laps. So at the moment, Sweet Crown, who has a big moment through turn 12, recovers it, but Lifeboat is going to have to, and does, draw alongside down the straight. He will have DRS as well to carry on the momentum, and he's got to surge fourth then, trying to use that DRS to his advantage, but Shadowglow in the Williams is going to take full advantage himself. He goes inside to the left hand side down the straight and passes up Sweet Crown. Nothing the Mercedes man can do, but you can see that gap was 2.8 from Lifeboat to Russell at the start of the straight. Now it is 2 seconds flat. He's using some battery to help that along, but you can see how that brings the gap down. Using the DRS to your advantage is all these drivers have. That is the key to trying to bring him back. There's a separate battle there, a private battle on track now between Verstappen and Baki. I think Verstappen may have very minor damage from that contact with Campbell. He is still recovering, and he is still on for a very solid 6th place at the moment. He will fight with Baki to the flag, I imagine, but ultimately beginning to slip away from the leaders, as is Hazara now. Those older tyres maybe starting to work against the Haas. He's teetering on the edge of that 1 second DRS range, as Lifeboat, you have to say, has put in a big effort. He's sliced that gap down. He used a lot of battery himself, but he's made this catch a lot more probable with that use of the battery, with the DRS pass on Sweet Crown. The gap 1.7 seconds. If he holds it through this first and middle sector, down the straight, you sense he can pull it back, but those fresher tyres and that DRS on the last lap definitely working into his favour. He's managed to get that gap down.
Yes, and these guys will have to leapfrog each other until they bring the gap down towards Russell. So Russell's job is not over yet, because these guys could DRS each other. I did see Shadowglow weave a bit on the straight, so that, yeah, he's weaving again. So that must indicate that he wants to work with these guys to try and catch Russell. Then they can have a fight towards the end of the Grand Prix. So let's see if Shadowglow, he's not using any EOS, he's trying to save that a bit, but he will overtake Lifeboat now to put himself into P2. So the gap was 1.6. What is it now? It is 1.4. So 1.3, yeah, stays at 1.3. But I will have to go to the toilet because I'm absolutely busted here. Sorry about that. 1.2 it is now. 1.1, so he's constantly gaining.
Right, okay, I'll let you have your comfort break, and I will take over the action myself from here. We have 3 laps to go here in Vegas, and the gap is just 1.2. These 3 drivers, Shadowgold, Lifeboat and Sweet Ground, have done a mega job over the last couple of laps to get that gap down to an ailing Russell who has no battery left. Are they getting DRS right? Oh, Shadowglow's round! Shadowglow's round! Heading out of turn number 4, he tries to re-emerge it, not sure if there was contact with Lifeboat, but having to do basically a 1,000,000 point turn as he recovers that Williams. Was that a mistake by himself? I'm not sure, but all that good work undone, and that is a major blow too to his own championship hopes. He came into this race just 14 points shy of our championship leader Russell, and now, well, his hopes have just been sliced. I'm not sure if there was contact with Lifeboat. I did not get a very clear picture of it, but Shadowglow has been cut right down the field, and he's looking at just minor points now in this race. What else it has done? Sweet Crown has lost contact with Lifeboat. Lifeboat is showing searing pace on these fresher tyres, just 1 lap difference, but he's using it to good effect. He's dropped Sweet Crown out of his DRS, and he is catching Russell. But both of them now running low on battery. Lifeboat trying to eke out just that little bit more. The DRS detection point comes at the end of this, well, the next one is going to be out of turn number 2, just as they go past the pit lane. The gap is little under 9/10 of a second. If Lifeboat can hold it there, he will be able to use that DRS to catapult himself up towards the race leader. The gap 8/10 of a second. He does have a tiny bit of battery. Neither same story with Russell as they both run out, heading down the main straight. No battery to use, it's just pure straight line speed, and it looks like on this occasion Lifeboat does just about have the edge, and he is in. He's going to get DRS on the run between turn 4 and 5, and this is going to do him a world of good now as he looks to open up a world of pain on the race. And championship leader then, Russell looked like he had this race all sewn up, but DRS tactics and some mega pace on fresher tyres from Lifeboat. He looked like he was struggling to hold on in the first stint and in the second, but in this third stint, he has come to life, and he has chased down Russell, who looks as though he may even be struggling with his tyres. Sweet Crown has kept somewhat in touch, and he could take advantage if there are any fireworks between the top two in the race. But that gap has come right down. The question is, can Lifeboat time this one perfectly? He made a last lap move on Shadowglow in the opening round of the season to take an unexpected win. Is he going to be an unlikely winner yet again in LOE D1, the former Division 2 champion? He's going to have DRS down this straight. Sweet Crown has miraculously worked his way back in. We have a three-way fight for what will be the race win, and we have just over one lap to go.
I think Russell wants to let Lifeboat through. You can see him backing off at the top there. He wants to let one of them go. But it's not working. Lifeboat is not going to fall for that trick, and Russell will be vulnerable. I think he's definitely going to be vulnerable now. There's absolutely no way on the last lap that Russell could keep these two behind. I think it's just to be a sacrifice, a guinea pig, to go into first place. Sweet Card will overtake Lifeboat and go wheel to wheel in the final corner as we head down into turn 1 we go. And Sweet Card wants to place himself for second place, try and win this race. Yes, he does. Or Lifeboat do under and over. No, he doesn't actually. Backs out of it wisely as well. Can be a difficult corner indeed. But coming out of turn 2 now, Sweet Card is in a prime position to take the lead away from Russell. Russell wants to let Sweet Card or Lifeboat go. He wants to get left on the car there. He wants to do it.
Oh!
Sweet Card is up to first place. Russell has done it. And this is all tactics here. Nobody wants to be in first place because essentially just a guinea pig down the straight there. And Sweet Card will be under massive pressure. We'll see then if Russell or Lifeboat will win the Grand Prix with the power of the DRS. This could get messy, you know, into the final few quarters of this Grand Prix.
Well, we call that left off the throttle from Russell. Russell's gambit. He is all over the back of Sweet Crown. He tried on the last lap, didn't work. He's tried again. He's got more battery to use, and Sweet Crown could be a sitting duck. Lifeboat, though, is not out of this either. He's right tucked in behind the top two, down the main straight. Anything can happen. Here we go. Out of turn 12, opening up the throttle. 1, 2, 3 in a line. Can the Alpine get past the Mercedes? It's going to be a formality. Surely Lifeboat is just a few legs off the back. So Russell, down the outside, takes away the race lead on the final lap, and Sweet Crown for the second season in a row is swamped on the final lap. Russell has the lead. Can Lifeboat send one? He's looking at the inside, but Russell breaks later. Heading into turn 14, Lifeboat just hesitated again. Can he get him on the run to the line? He's got a better run. He's on the battery again. Can he get alongside? It's going to be a grand slam finish here in Vegas. To the outside, to the right goes Lifeboat, side by side over the line. Who wins in Vegas? It's neck and neck. Russell wins it by just 100th of a second. Lifeboat tried as he might, came all the way around the outside, but just couldn't quite make it. Sweet Crown takes third place. Hazara Baki winning out from Verstappen in that fight. He gets fifth, Verstappen sixth, then Rocco, Luke, Campbell and Alp the top 10, then Yobream / Fleddy and Shadowglow. I'm not sure what the closest finish in LOE history was up to that point, but that might just be it. Jamie, what a finale.
Oh my god, my heart was pumping towards the last corner. I thought Lifeboat was going to get it, but Russell just managed to hold on. A bit of contact too for good measure, trying to squeeze him out. But Russell, in the end, won the Grand Prix. He wanted that win desperately from first, well, from the lap 1 all the way to the end as well. Sweet Crown, shame for him, but yeah, he just let himself go into first place there. Maybe he wished he didn't overtake Lifeboat, but it's all tactics here in Vegas. Nobody wants to go first in the DRS trade because that's exactly what happens. Unfortunately, Sweet Crown just got swamped from first all the way down to third and had to be the guinea pig in that top 3 DRS trade. So, yeah, it's tactics at the end of the day, and it wasn't too dirty. You expect it now and then. And here's Russell there. What a victory for him. Fantastic race result. Gets the victory after Australia, and Lifeboat's in P2. Sweet Crown in third place, and Hazara from 15th to 4th as well, being under the radar in this race. Back in 5th, Verstappen 6th, Rocco in 7th place ahead of Luke, Campbell in 9th place, unfortunately for him after that contact into turn 1, Alp in 10th, Yulbeam 11th, Slash 12th place, Fleddy 13th, Shadow sets the fast lap and in 14th, and Saki in 15th ahead of Chris. Those two are the DNFs as well. Which one caused the safety car, which was Saki in 15th place.
Yes, indeed. Wow, that was that was quite the finale, wasn't it? I thought it might just be a bog standard DRS pass, and well, I guess you could say it was with Russell taking down Sweet Crown, but Lifeboat so nearly had it. But Russell very wisely went to the left and forced Lifeboat the long way round. If he gave up that inside lane into the final corner, I think Lifeboat would have just edged him out. That is the margins that we're talking about here. What a grandstand finish between our top three. They can all take a bound. Hazara, yeah, really strong drive through the field, ends up in fourth place. He was with the wars today as well. Baki takes fifth from Verstappen. Rocco, Luke, Campbell, Alp, Yilbream slash Fleddy, Shadowglow, and with that spin near the end, he could have won this race, let's not forget, from Yassir and Chris, who didn't see the checkered flag. Yes, that was a bonkers Vegas Grand Prix. And I think you've been really treated in the couple of races that you've had here in LOE Division 1. And Russell, you'd have to say, edging out that race win, and with Shadowglow and Verstappen both dropping quite a lot of points here, his chances of winning this championship, I think, just skyrocketed.
Yeah, big statement there for Russell, and I think he will get ahead of Shadowglow. Oh yeah, when I went to the tour, what happened to Shadowglow, by the way? Because he dropped down into 12th place, he made a pit stop when I came back.
Yeah, so he'd managed to claw himself within range almost of Russell in that race lead. With just a couple laps to go, and then he spun. I'm not sure if it was on his own or if he got tapped from Lifeboat. Hard to say. I think he did spin on his own, it must be said, heading out of turn 4, and ultimately that is what has cost him here, because again, he was in right with a shout. But yeah, we could have had a grandstand finish amongst 4 cars. Instead, we just had to settle for 3 in the end. So I guess you could say it is it's getting a bit predictable with the amount of races that Russell is winning, but he's not been running away with these. He's had to fight for them. I mean that one, 15 thousandths of a second. I don't know what you can actually do to represent that amount of time. It is so small it might as well be zero, but that is the margin of victory that we had. Certainly the closest finish of the season so far. Lifebout on the receiving end of a grandstand finish on this occasion after winning out in Jeddah, but yeah, that was quite something. I think the only downside really to this race is what it did to the championship, but we'll see if Shadowglow Verstappen and now Sweet Crown, who's also picked up a lot of points, can fight back. But Russell, yet another win, but what a tough one it was. I think that is just about going to be it then. So that is round 9 of 14 done in this championship. The next round, by the way, round 10 of the series, we are getting right into the business end of this calendar. That is coming to you from Spa. The Belgian Grand Prix is next up on the agenda, and it will be the second sprint event of this season. So if you weren't watching in Singapore, what we did was we have a grid sprint race in reverse championship order, and the results of that sprint race carries over the grid to the Grand Prix. Of course, there are points on offer for both the sprint race and, of course, the main race. So that is on the agenda for next week. I think Jamie is now with me. Were you just away there when I tried to hand over to you then?
Yeah, somebody came into my room and tried speaking to me, so sorry about that. But yeah, with Russell and Sweetcard, it's not the first time I've seen them fight. I've been commentating over those two for a long time now, and it just brings back memories and deja vu of those two constantly fighting for first and second place, and it's just amazing between those two. Obviously, they had the fair share of contact before, but these two generally put up some great entertainment, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next upcoming races. I think the next one you said was in Belgium, and we tend to have good races around there too, especially towards I think out of Stablo into Blanchimont, where we could see a few last lap passes too. But yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. But yeah, Russell will continue to extend his lead over Shadowglow and Verstappen as well as Sweetcard tries to get closer. And Cucumber, who was not racing here tonight, I think Baki will overtake him in the championship as well. So he will lose a lot of places there, points too for good measure. But yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. I think you said it was a sprint race, if I heard you correctly.
Yes.
Belgium.
Yes, that's absolutely right. So we, again, sprint race, reverse grid is reverse championship order. That is how it's going to go down next week.
Well, I don't know if I'm commentating over the next few races, but these two races I've commentated with you has been absolutely phenomenal to watch. Always action-packed, loads of battles everywhere, and never ceases to disappoint either. So really appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, not a problem, and it's been great to be alongside you once again, Jamie. I've certainly had a blast over these last two races, and yeah, this one was no exception. What a finale that we had. So, I think that is going to be near enough it for the ninth round of the championship. Vegas is in the books, and we will see you at Spa next time out. So, I think with everything said and done for this round of the championship, from myself and Jamie, it is goodbye for now, and until next time, we'll see you later.